Okay. Okay. So we are looking at Glacier today. The Glacier um, is a kind of storage, but we would not be able to use the content in the Glacier directly. That means that it's primarily used for backup and retrieval purposes only. You can back it up. So traditionally we used to take backups using various tools like semantic backup or Veritas backup, and there's so many of these tools that we had in the traditional world. And they were all backed up either on a file server or they were backed up on a tape drive. When they were backed up on a file server, they were in encrypted format. But when they are in tape drive, can you even think of maybe accessing the tape drive somehow and double clicking on that file and accessing it? Well, no, that's not possible, isn't it? You have to restore the content of the tape drive onto a server or a computer and then use those files. You cannot use the files directly from the backups. That's exactly how it is in Glacier as well. It is no different from the traditional world. But people have asked why Glacier doesn't let me access the files. Well, because it is a backup solution. It's a backup solution. Even in the traditional world, we never had that flexibility, I would say, is there is no need to double click on a file or access those files or use those files which are located on tape drive. A Glacier is a service or a web service from Amazon, and it is low cost. As you see on the screen, it is low cost. But what does that exact number mean? I would say, to be precise, it is 1/3 the cost of S3. So if S3 is costing 1 rupee or $1, um, Glacier will cost you 30 cents, 1/3 the cost, right? That's why it is so cheap. And the only thing that you can do here is back up. That's it. Back up and restore. And you back up in something called as a vault. Now talking more about the other kinds of backups that we have, um, like we have these Veritas, Semantic, Net backups. Now with the advent of cloud computing, these commercialized backup solutions have also integrated their backup with cloud. That means that we don't have to depend on tape backups or backups on the file server. We can back up directly to the cloud with the help of those tools. Right? So you launch the tool, and in that tool itself you will have an option to integrate your backups with Glacier or Azure or any other vendor, right? Whatever you may be choosing. So there you have to put your access keys and secret access ID and like your user ID and password, right? Once that is done, you will be able to um, take backups onto the cloud-based backup solution directly. Any question?
No. Good.
What's a Glacier? Okay. Let's click on Get Started. Okay, and it asks me vault name. So just like the way we have buckets in S3, we have vaults in Glacier. The difference is that this name need not be unique because we don't have to publish it anywhere, right? We're not giving this link to anybody. It's not an endpoint URL. Whereas S3 has an endpoint URL, it can be published over the internet like a unique DNS name. Vault is not um, used anywhere. It's just within your services. So that's how it is. Let's give it a name, and it asks me. Right now I'm connected to North Virginia region. That's why it picks up North Virginia by default. I'll give it a name like backups. Done. And say next. Now notifications are something that's linked up with every service because you would like to get notified when a certain activity happens. Now here in this case, do you want to get notified when a backup happens or something fails is what it is asking about. So, well, I will not choose any notifications at this time. Say next and done. That's it, right? So we created a vault. The name of the vault is backups. What is a vault? A vault is a container for storing your archives. So when you create a vault, you give the vault name and the region. And one thing that I want to tell you is that not every region has Glacier. Not every region will be supporting Glacier. There are certain regions that do not have Glacier. That means you cannot take backup over there. Of course, we are in North Virginia region, and I always choose North Virginia region because in North Virginia, you will have all the services up and running. And this is the first place where a service is first brought up, right? It's like a proof of concept, the first place where Amazon themselves bring up a service. That's why I choose this place to do all the lab activities, because it's going to be available everywhere. Glacier may not be available everywhere in all the regions, so it's worth finding out where it is not available. So this is a simple management console, and this is from where you can create and delete the vaults. But once the vault is created, all other interactions must be done with AWS CLI, or you write your own code, or with third-party applications like Cloudberry or S3 Explorer, or using backup tools like Veritas or whatever. Everything must be done externally using REST APIs or AWS SDKs. I cannot upload the content from here using this GUI. There's no way I will have an option to do that. There's no upload button like the way you have in S3.
Okay.
The only way I can do that is by going to my, let's see what I got. Do I have Cloudberry? If I have to show that, Cloudberry. No, I don't. I'll quickly download that and install and show that to you. But before I show that, I need to go with another topic called as IAM, because it needs permission. Now this is a third-party software that I'm downloading, isn't it? It's third-party software. Hmm. This third-party software needs to have permissions on Glacier to upload the content or anything that I'm doing, right? Or S3. So how can a third-party software connect to my account in North Virginia and then uh, put the content in my cloud? That is possible only if I put my user ID and password, and I don't want to put my root user ID and password. I want to give specific credentials for backups, right? So I have to go to IAM over here and create a credential or create an account that has specific permission. So it's called as role-based access controls. So right after we are done with this, we'll go to another topic. I want to go to EFS and then IAM. It's just installing that. So as you see, there are not much options over there. The settings, I'm currently in free tier. I'll choose that. In free tier, data retrievals requests that exceed the free tier will not be accepted, right? So there is a specific, of course, with with every service there are limitations as far as a free tier are concerned. Like in S3, you've got limitations up to 5 GB. You cannot put more than 5 GB. But if you put 4 GB, 5 GB, and you want to go beyond that, you just pay for it, right? And here it is saying if you want to retrieve it, what is the maximum retrieval rate? It's 1 GB per hour. And if you select this, no retrieval limit at all, then there will be no limit. There will be more cost. Other one is provision capacity, where you can continue to add more capacity units. As you know that Glacier is a service that lets you not only backup but also retrieve the backup, and these are the retrieval settings. With free tier, I cannot do much, right? If I exceed the free tier limitations, I will not be able to retrieve from the backups. But if I have one of these settings, then I have to pay as per whatever the charges are. We have to go to pricing page for data retrieval and then take a look at that. Now, what you might have noticed is storing information in Glacier is not that expensive, but retrieving is, right? If you want to restore the content, then that is where your charges are. So the charges vary from region to region, and these are the only regions where you have. Oh, we got one in Mumbai. All right. North Virginia, same cost, but I think the Southeast Asian countries will have expensive. It's going above zero point 0.1 cent. There is no Singapore here. AWS Go Cloud. Oh, it's expensive. Okay, 45. This is more. So as you see that the prices are changing per region, right? It's not the same. So when my retrieval requests are going above 1 to 5 minutes, or we can expect like 1 to 5 minutes for my data to be restored if my retrieval rates are $0.3 per GB. So the whole detailed information available over here about EC2 pricing, which you can take a look at. I'll just put that in the chat. Of course, you can pick it up from search engine or from here as well, right? So there's not much of an option here. The details in which region it is stored, and what are the notifications. Region is North Virginia. It was created on this date, and like every object has a unique AR, and it has that. Nothing has been uploaded to my backups yet, so nothing is updated. I've got notifications, whether you want to enable or disable notifications, and who needs to have permissions on it. This is IAM that I was talking about. And if you lock the vault, nobody will be able to read information from that. Yeah. And then there is taggings, just like your EC2 and VPC, S3, and everything. Everywhere you have tagging, primarily for understanding the resource name, like it belongs to which business unit or who's the owner. All of that thing you can put here. I can say business unit. These backups for the SQL team, right? And I say business owner, 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 owner at company.com. Etc. I can just keep on filling that information and later on pull up the reports if that is required. And I was downloading this Cloudberry tool. Let me go to my downloads and check if that's done. Where's that? Didn't download. Huh. Okay. Because I don't know why. It's been I'm not able to install anything on my machine. I keep getting that message, the same message. Well, I suggest that you go ahead and try that. Okay, but Cloudberry tool. I'll take a look at this later on and figure out why I'm not able to install this
Why do we
software.
use that Cloudberry?
Okay, Cloudberry is a third-party tool. There are a lot of tools like that. That tool lets you connect to a cloud service. It could be AWS, Azure, Rackspace, Google Drive, SkyDrive, Box, Dropbox, or anything that you think about, right? So maybe I can show that to you in the form of images since I'm not able to install it. Does it have it? That's good. Software. Yeah. So if you look at this, I'm just trying to upload the content on my drive to the cloud. So it takes an online backup of your computer or a server. So instead of backing up on a tape drive, you can back up to the cloud directly. And the cloud could be your storage accounts in Azure, or it could be Glacier in AWS, or it could be S3 as well. Depends where you want to back up. It's a backup software.
Okay. Okay. So basically, from on your on-prem machine to the cloud, whenever you want to upload something.
Exactly. So if you take a look at this one as well, you have so many of these solutions. You can take a backup to S3 or Glacier or something else, S3 Drive. Azure is there. I'm sure Google Drive is there. What Dropbox?
So,
Hmm.
I mean, how is it different from uploading to S3? Because yesterday, like we were trying to upload some files to S3, right?
Hmm.
And we were able to do that. So,
Hmm.
can't we doing the similar way for uploading files to Glacier?
In S3, well, yeah, you can absolutely do that, but not through GUI console in Amazon. In Amazon, this console, I don't have an option to upload. There is no upload button here. I can only upload with third-party tools. Second thing,
Yeah.
using S3 upload, you will not be able to schedule it. Let's say every day in the middle of the night you want to upload 20 terabytes, too much,
Okay. Okay.
20 GB of data. You may not be able to do it. Delta synchronization, like 20 GB became 20.5 GB, and you want to upload only zero point 0.5 now. So there is not much of an intelligence in S3 uploads. You have to do everything manually. If you want to schedule it, right? So as soon as it is done, you want to get notified. An alert or email should come when it is uploaded. So such things are not there in S3 or even in Glacier Vault.
So is it take something like data stage, what is it, jobs that it run every day?
You
Is
can
something like
schedule the
that?
jobs. Yes, you can schedule the jobs.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
So you mean that is the only difference between the S3 and the Glacier as far as like
No, no.
automatic upload is concerned, or is
I was
something else?
not telling the differences between S3 and Glacier. The differences were between cloud storage and Cloudberry. So when you try to upload using S3, well, you can upload, but you have to do it manually. Using Cloudberry or other third-party softwares, you can automate that, schedule it. The
Okay,
difference
okay,
between
got it.
S3 and
Will make
Glacier,
sense.
hmm,
Yeah, go ahead.
the difference between S3 and Glacier will be that S3 is an object storage. It is an object store where you can upload any kind of object and use that as um, kind of a content storage mechanism, and use that as a web server as well. S3. Glacier, the purpose of Glacier is totally different. It is only used to hold your information, backup, and keep it there. That's it. And then you can retrieve it from the backups when it is required.
Okay, so whatever, like you said, like S3, we can use it for a web server or something like that. So for every server there will be some sort of logs, right? So can we take those logs back up into Glacier every day? Is it something like that?
As long as that's there on your server. If the log is on your server, it's a file. So Glacier does not
Yeah,
differentiate between a file and any other thing.
yeah,
For backup solution, it's just a backup. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, when you say the backup, like I'm just trying to understand, like, can we take anything that is available on the cloud? Can we take a backup of something available on our VPC?
On your traditional environment.
On the cloud, we no need to take any backup, right? We will be having auto scaling. And so no, basically I'm trying to understand like where exactly we use this Glacier on a real time.
Wherever you want to take backups. Wherever, in any scenario where you think backup is required. You have lots and lots of files on your S3 and you would like to take backup of that. You will
Yeah,
set up
I mean,
lifecycle policies.
yeah, technically, yeah, that's what I'm asking basically. So something which is available on S3, if we need a backup of that S3 file every day, so we use Glacier. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, makes sense.
Okay. With that, let's go ahead and talk about another topic called EFS. Okay. I suggest that you go ahead and install Cloudberry tool. I've tried to do that, but some issue on my laptop. I'm not able to. Da, 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 da. It just gives me this error message. The service cannot be started because it is either disabled or because it has no enabled devices attached with it. And that happened every time I try to install anything. So even yesterday when I tried to install this, get the same thing. Try to fix it. Okay. Parallelly, I suggest that you go ahead and play around Cloudberry.
Yeah, will do it.
Okay. EFS. EFS is Elastic File System, right? Mostly covers network attached storage, also NAS. So what do you do in, I'll delete this existing one what I have. Delete file system, give it some name. So yesterday we were talking about different kinds of file system. One is SAN, NAS, and DAS, and I was also referring that as soon as you have the word NAS, the network word inside that, that means that it will have an IP address, right? So once it has an IP address, it means that you will be able to connect to that network from anywhere if it has a public IP, right? So EFS is a file system that is elastic in nature, but you may ask a question: why do we need a separate file system when we already have elastic block store? So when I go to EC2, when I go to EC2, or when we are creating an instance, at that time it will ask, do you want to create a volume? So in case it's a Linux machine, you'll put 8 GB. In case of a Windows machine, the default ones will be 30 GB. So this is elastic block store. What you can do is create a volume over here, and attach, just as I create it and attach it to an instance. So this volume will be acting as a drive, right? This volume will be acting as a drive, the capacity of which is 100 GB. So you can do C drive, D drive, E drive, or whatever you want to do. The maximum size is 16 GB. Now this is the limitation of NTFS. This is not the limitation from Amazon. So when you create a partition which has NTFS partition, it will be giving you 16 GB. That's the maximum limit of NTFS partitions. Now here, let's say you want more than this. The maximum amount of size that I have mentioned is 100 GB. So that's the limitation again. For my D drive, which is attached as an elastic block store on my machine, the limitation is that I cannot go beyond 100 GB. If I want more than 100 GB, then I create another one and do disk part utilities to run that. That's fine. But I want a storage which has unlimited size. And that's what the cloud is all about. Use as much as you want and pay as much as you use is what cloud computing is all about. Now, I don't want to see any limitations in numbers like this. I want a drive which is unlimited in size. I just keep uploading information and I pay for that information. And when I delete it, my bills will fall down. That's what I want. And that's exactly what EFS provides. EFS is a file system. It can be mounted as a drive, but that drive does not have an upper limit. You can just keep on uploading information as much as you want. Make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it. Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Now this is a file system which is in a network, right? NFS is what I was referring to. So when we say NFS, when we say network file system, that means it is a device that is present in the network. It is in a VPC, and when it is in a VPC, that means that it is in a subnet. When it is in a subnet as an object, then that means that it will also be behind a security group, right? All of these things come into picture, correct? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, that's right.
yeah. So you will see all of this, and in fact, let me draw a diagram before I make all of these directly go with the proof of concept. So that's your VPC. In your VPC, you have a private subnet and a public subnet, correct? Then let's say you have hosted where is that? This is your okay. Let's say that is your EFS, and let me write it as well before we forget. EFS. That is my EFS, and this is my Where is that? Let's say this is my instance. Pick a better one. This is my instance, EC2. Now this instance, which is EC2, is behind a security group, isn't it? Every EC2 instance is connected to a security group. So let's say that is a security group. And because EFS is in the network, it will also be behind a security group. So for me to mount this EFS volume to this instance, I need to have communication between these two subnets and these two security groups, isn't it? So I need to open the ports on the firewall to allow communication, correct?
Yeah,
Sushanta.
that's right.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So what I will do now is I'll create an EC2 instance for now, because EC2 instance takes about 4 to 7 minutes to get created. And while that is getting created, we will go back to EFS and then create EFS. Okay. So I'll launch, create an EFS, EC2. Oh, it's right here. Go to EC2 dashboard, launch an instance, and I'm going to launch a pretty basic Linux machine. Linux EC2 instance. I'm not sure why it's taking time. Okay, launch that. I don't have to worry about how much RAM I'm giving. I'm gonna put it in. Okay, I'm gonna put this in one of the data centers. Make sure that it is public because I want to putty add storage. 8 GB is good enough. Yeah, tag. Just give it name. Purpose testing EFS. Okay, that's good. Security group. SSH is okay. Review and launch. I'm going to make sure that I have a key pair, create new key pair, and give it name EFS test or something, and download launch instance. So that's that's that, and I don't have to do anything else. It will get a public IP and all of that in some time. While that is doing, I'll say go ahead and create a file system, and I must be putting that in the same VPC where I have my um, virtual machine. And the virtual machine, this is in subnets, and it is of course going behind a security group. So next, taggings, I can say name, oh, name, EFS, yeah, okay, purpose, WNV, okay, keep moving. And next, oh, this one, whether you want it to be a general purpose is where you don't worry about performance at all. But if you really care about your performance, and EFS is used for production purposes where you have thousands of users hitting the hitting your EFS volume, then yes, you will go for max IOPS, maximum input output. It's like your provisioned IOPS in your hard disk. That's a summary, right? So I'm hosting EFS in VPC in following subnets, and that's it. Create file system. That's it. So take a step back and relax and think about it. It will take some time. The EFS creation takes some time, right? Creating it takes some time. All right. So while that is running, let's go back to EFS and all right. I'll try to connect to this. I'm not sure if it will connect because status check is not completed. Remember, I have to convert the PEM file to PPK, isn't it? So go to puttygen, say load. What's the name of my file? EFS? Yeah. And say OK. Save private key. Say yes. And say EFS again. EFS test. And this one is a PPK file. Save it. Close it. Go to putty, paste my IP address, go to SSH, auth, browse, EFS. That's one I'm interested in. Let's see if it connects. Awesome, it got connected. EC2-user. So we are in business. Although 2x2 checks are not complete, we are able to connect. In Linux, there is a command called as df, right? Df tells me the number of volumes that are mounted on the Linux machine. The one that we did was this one when we are creating what? Um, the virtual machine, the instance. At that time it asks you, right, how much of volume do you want? 8 GB is what we mentioned by default. It will be here in the volume section, right? 8 GB. That's what we can see when you type the command df. It tells me that, okay, I've got 8 GB of space on myself. Now once I mount the EFS volume here, I should be able to see another one, correct? I have not yet mounted, as you know. Are we good so far? Are we going at a good pace, or is that confusing?
Yeah, everything. No, it's clear for me.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to EFS and see what's going on there. I'll refresh it. It's still creating. Okay. The question is, how do I mount it, right? Amazon really gives us baby steps here, step-by-step thing. I look at these two links here, right? Amazon EC2 mount instructions. Click on it and it tells us exact thing. What do you have to do? One thing that I missed to tell you was that this is a NFS, network file system. To access network file systems, you need to install NFS client. Okay. Now NFS client is supported only on Linux platforms and not on Windows platform. That's why it gives the commands only for Linux and not on Windows. So the instructions are not available for Windows. What does that mean? It means that you cannot mount an EFS volume on Windows. That is not a
Oh,
limitation from Amazon. It's a limitation from Microsoft because they do not support NFS. They support NTFS and FAT and FAT32 and FAT8, whatever older things were there. But they do not support NFS.
yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So that's what we have to do. We have to install this NFS client. But fortunately for Amazon Linux, this kind of image, NFS client will already be installed. If you have set up or provisioned an Ubuntu instance, that's what you do. Once that is done, you connect to your SSH machines and create a folder called as EFS. Doesn't matter what the name you gave to it. Okay, EFS is the name of a drive. EFS is the name of a folder. Doesn't matter what name you give to this. Yeah, maybe your name. The idea is to mount your NFS volume to the EFS folder that you're getting created. That's what we want to do. Okay. So let's see if it is completed. Refresh it. Okay, it's available now. So your EFS volume that you have created is redundant by default. It is highly available by default. How can I say that? I can say that because it was created in VPC and it is available in both the availability zones. So just in case one of them goes down, the other one is available. So redundancy and highly available nature of EFS, those things are already there. So we don't have to worry about making it available or making it a redundant solution. So let's go ahead and mount it and run these instructions. Okay, are we good so far?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so thank you. Just run that. It will say, hey, you really want to do that? No, no, it's nothing to do. It's already installed. Okay, it's a package is already installed and latest version, so there's nothing to worry. Next, I have to come to this command directly, copy that and paste it. Done. So my folder is created. I'll do ls to see if it's actually created. Well, yes, it's there. Now, next thing that you will have to do is copy this, the whole command, and paste it. Enter. Now that is a challenge. This is where the problem is. We created EFS here, but EFS is here. Or maybe, even if you consider a simple architecture where I don't have two subnets, let's say I have only one subnet. In one subnet, I created an EC2 instance, and in another, or maybe in the same subnet, I created my EFS. And you know that each of these, what is that? each of these instances, each of these resources are behind their own security groups. This behind a security group and this behind a security group. So regardless whether they're in the same subnet or a different subnet, you have to make sure that the communication works between the security groups, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this will time out. It's not working. So it will just time out. Nothing is happening. So from my EC2 instance, now one question for you, which will be helpful for your exam as well as for interviews as well. The traffic is outbound from which resource? Tell me the answer. Is it from EC2 or the EFS?
Outbound call. It will be a easy to. One second.
The traffic is
No,
outbound
no.
from which resource? EC2 or
No, it will be from the EFS because we are mounting EFS on the EC2.
okay, so one answer is EFS. Sushant,
Uh,
the traffic is outbound from so traffic
tra-
that means I'm generating traffic from here, right? I'm trying to connect to the EFS volume. So I want to check whether the traffic is outbound or inbound. Traffic is outbound from which resource and inbound for which resource?
no, we are. Yeah. Means from EFH it should be outbound because we are bringing it to EC2, right? From EFH it should be outbound.
Okay, so there is a security group called as SG1. SG1 is attached to EFS. Then SG2 is attached to EC2.
EC2.
Okay. Okay. Now tell me, when I run this command, the traffic is going out from which security group?
Can you go back to that command?
Go back to command. Okay. Regardless of this command,
That was
let's say
yeah.
I'm
I
doing
found
ping.
something here.
Let's say I'm doing ping or anything.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't matter what command it is. There's some command that I'm typing here that is trying to connect to EFS.
Okay, so I think then it will be EC2 is trying to connect to EFS, right? So outbound call is from EC2.
Outbound is from SG2, correct? If you say EC2 to SG2, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I,
EFS will be the inbound call because it's receiving the like traffic request or it
Okay. And inbound is for which security group then?
C1.
SG1. Okay. Susanta, tell me your answers now.
yeah, SG1 should be in. No. EFS SG1. SG1 should be outbound. SG1 should be outbound and receiving SG2. SG2 should be inbound.
Now, when I'm sending traffic from EC2, you see, these are really confusing, okay, and were asked in interviews as well. So this is important to know. Um, Traffic is being sent out from which machine? EC2. That means that the traffic is sent out from SG2. That means that the outbound traffic is SG2. And the traffic is received by EFS volume. Traffic is received by EFS volume, isn't it? That means it is inbound. So SG1 is inbound. Yes or no?
No, Anand. EC2 we are going to mount on EC2, right?
Yes.
Mount means it will receive. Means that will be inbound, right? EC2 should be inbound.
So when I am running a command, let's say ping, I'm running a command called ping@yahoo.com. Is the traffic going out from here or coming inside this in the first place?
Yahoo.com means it's coming inside this, right?
So when I'm sending information from this, I'm trying to send information from this computer, right? ping alpha.com.
Okay.
I'm trying to send out information from my computer and trying to figure out if alpha.com exists or not, or yahoo.com exists or not. So it is outbound.
Okay, so you are saying from our system it's outbound. So when we will get the details, that time it is inbound.
That time it is inbound, but we are not talking about that. When we are getting information, that is
Okay.
inbound. So from EC2, I'm saying mount a drive. So the traffic is going out and figuring out about the outbound traffic. It just goes out, and this security group must be in a position to listen to the traffic. So it should be inbound for this security group. For inbound for this security group, and outbound for this security group. Correct?
Okay.
Is it right, Hima?
Yeah.
Sushanta, is it confusing?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So the security group in which I have
Yeah,
to,
initially I was confused.
yeah, okay. The security group in which I have to do the modification is this one now. The one that is attached to my EFS. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in inbound traffic, outbound traffic anyways is all. It will be allowed everything. It will be allowing everything. So let's go and take a look at these security groups. So this is what 92F, right? 92F security group is okay. 92F. 92F. Okay. We have to allow traffic. So the security group for my EFS is this, and security group for EC2. What is security group for EC2? Security group for EC2 is this. Let's copy. I'm just making documentation, making notes as well. Okay, that's good. So the inbound traffic is SG1, so I have to modify it over here. From where? From this security group. So I have to go to 92F. Right, I go to 92F. Yeah, say inbound. Edit that. Add a rule. I'll say all traffic. All traffic. From where? From the EC2 security group. EC2 security group is SG2, which is 29. And I want to allow from that group only. Okay? Is that good? Confusing? No, right? It's okay.
Mm.
So I'm going to run this command one more time and see what happens. Look at that. No timeout. Now run a DF and you see 8 GB as well as an unlimited volume, which is EFS volume attached. Okay?
Yeah.
Have you used this tool called as WinSCP?
Yeah.
Use that tool to upload information into the EFS drive. Okay? Sushanta, have you used WinSCP? Sir? Okay. Hima, any questions?
No. Completely.
Okay. So with that, we come to an end of this today's session, my friend. Any questions, let me know, and we will then talk about tomorrow. Let's do IAM. Identity and access management is something that we will do tomorrow. And I'll also introduce you to AWS CLI, which is command line. How do you manage with command lines?
Okay. Anand, just a question.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
nothing technical. Like so, after like this BPC, C2, S3, and EFS, and almost we are into IAM tomorrow. So, how long can we say that we are into AWS? It's like
Oh,
40, 50 minutes.
we have a lot of things to cover. We will be talking about Beanstalk, RDS, DynamoDB, Elasticache, Redshift, CloudFront, Route 53, CloudWatch, CloudFormation, CloudTrail, Directory Services, Workmail, Work Docs.
So, whatever we see on the under services tab, are we gonna cover everything here?
Now, I have worked on most of these services, so I am fortunate to tell you most of them, everything that I know. So the
Okay.
projects that I have worked on is something that I tell, and fortunately, it is beyond an infrastructure scope that I'm telling. So it's some part into development as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
it could be a combination of everything. Nobody. I'm saying nobody based on my experience. Will be telling you workspaces here. Workspaces. Oh, where is it? This part. Workspaces, workmail, work docs, app streaming. Nobody tells that because there is a cost associated with that. And it does not come under free tier,
Oh,
right?
okay. So we have to pay even for the training.
Um, well, I will show that to you. I'll show that to you how to do that on the screen, right? And it's up to you how whether you want to do the labs, and you have to pay like $6 is the cost of doing workspaces. It's all up to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, just wanted to see like how like what is the entire scope for AWS. That's the reason I asked. There's nothing.
yeah. We are doing a lot of services here. Most of them, some of them beyond the scope of usual training as well. But I love to teach, so I'm just telling everything that I know. That's it. That's about it.
Yeah, that's
So, did Kranti tell you that I will be off for 7? Not Kranti.
Drupal.
Krupa. Yeah, I'll be off for a week. Did Kranti tell you?
Ah, no. From
Okay,
menu,
okay.
what's the duration?
So I will be in Chicago and then on DC from the 8th. Maybe I'll leave this weekend on the 7th. Maybe on Saturday or Sunday. I don't have the tickets yet.
Okay.
And then I'll be back the following week.
On 14th. Oh,
Uh,
you're in Chicago? You will be in Chicago?
I'll be in Chicago and DC for those that duration.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could take the online training, but I cannot commit to that
Yeah,
because
that's
what
fine. Not nothing. I can
what
understand.
is the
Yeah.
so you are also in Central? Are you in East?
No, I'm in Eastern.
Eastern, so you'll be 1 hour ahead. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're in
so
Chicago.
in
What
DC.
once you're in DC?
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
is
DC
like
also same.
7:30 this time, right? What is the time now?
For us,
Yeah, for you.
it's 11.
Oh,
It's
it's
like
11
9.5
o'clock.
hours vision.
10 o'clock. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually, most of the time, 90%. So whenever I've been there, client always takes out and we keep on discussing things.
Yeah, I
So,
can understand.
so even in the night, he does not spare me. So let's see how that goes. If I commit to it, then at least you can plan something else, isn't it? During this time, you can go through all of these videos again and research. So if I tell you that there is a class, then you may not be able to commit to something else. So I have to tell beforehand so that you can have your own plans, right?
Yeah, maybe that might be helpful since, like I said, like this Friday, after Friday, I will get some free time. So maybe I will utilize that for going through all this
Yes, yes. Yeah.
videos. Okay.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, use WinSCP. You may find some challenges because from Putty you can log in directly. From Putty, you
Mhm.
can use auth and then put your PPK file. How do you put the PPK file in WinSCP is something that you should know, right? That's one challenge. Second is you may not have permissions when you are uploading information to um, um, uploading information from your WinSCP to the instance. So how do you do sudo using WinSCP, right? You need those permissions sudo thing, or using chmod and taking permission. So that's kind of a challenge. It's not a challenge, but I want you to figure that yourself. And if not, I'm always there. Just ping me, and we'll handle that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right.
Sure.
I think Shushant is out. I'm not sure where he went. So we'll close the session for
No, no,
today.
no.
Okay, you're there. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was telling Anand, so Friday will be the last class for us this week.
I've not booked the tickets yet. I still need to get that sorted out. So
Okay,
could be Friday or Saturday. It depends when I'm flying.
okay, okay. So then the next will be happen from 15th onwards, right? So this week, 1 week will be not there, right?
Correct, correct. Could be 15th or 16th. Like I said, my tickets, return tickets and going tickets are also not booked. So once they are booked, mostly it will happen today or tomorrow. I'll get to know about it, and I can tell you the exact date when we can start again.
Yeah, sure, sure, fine, no problem.
Okay. And during this time, if you need any help, please feel free to ping as well. And I'm on WhatsApp anyway, so shoot an email. So I'll be always there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, guys, please do the labs, and we'll talk about IAM, like I said, Identity and Access Management, um, tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks, thanks.
Thank you. Bye.